Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. It is Sunday afternoon, the day after misery. So happy Sunday to you all. NFL kicks off about 30 minutes, so hope you guys have a great Sunday. And it is the last Sunday before Halloween and before we roll into November, which means it's going to be the last month of college football. So as much as we want to be frustrated, as much as we want to hate what happened yesterday, let's appreciate the fact that we have 4 games left, okay? And it's going to be over before you know it. We wait all season, all year for this time of the year. Man, it always plan out we like it to, like it did yesterday. But it's still, look, we got to appreciate our Saturdays because we've only got a few left, boys and girls. So we're going to talk all things, obviously, Florida Gators versus Georgia. They happened to go down yesterday. We do our call-in show after every game to, get the opinions of the fans. And I love talking to kind of everybody, get a different perspective. It's great to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions about it and open your mind up a little bit. So took that into consideration, obviously slept on it for a little bit. And then, look, we can't make excuses. We got our ass kicked. I saw a clip of Steve Spurrier saying, look, they're just better than us. And I think that's kind of just the short sum of it. They're better than us. I think the question mark for us Gator fans and why the head scratcher is, and most of us know it's recruiting that has a lot to do with it, but then coaching obviously is another factor, play calling, personnel, what's happening. Why, we're just continue to be behind the 8 ball. The one thing I do want to state, kind of just a quick reaction, and I've stated this before, is, look, I mean, it's Florida, unfortunately, is way behind more than what I think we would like to admit. But that's kind of where we're at right now. We're gonna go over some coaching. I did some digging because, again, a lot of the things that we talked about yesterday, just somebody kind of talked about schematically and what we tried to do against a very disciplined team. I saw a lot of people trying to point to recruiting being the issue, so I'm going to bring that up in comparison. And then the hot seat, that was being mentioned a few times yesterday. Talk about his presser just a little bit. And then Kirby just taking an absolute slam dunk on an old Florida Gator head coach. So all in all, great stuff there. But look, first order of business, let's talk about kind of just that instant reaction. Brutal, tough, hard to watch. Frustrating, upsetting. I mean, especially after you come out there and you punch them in the mouth, you get a touchdown, you get somewhat of a stop, holding them to a field goal. You've got the ball. It's like, look, you just went down and drove no problem. You got the ball to number 3, which was the formula the entire time. And then Billy's gonna Billy. It's gonna seem to be the motto for our mantra for the next, the rest half of the season here. Kind of got flat-footed. And then we just had a blunder of plays. It was kind of like Utah, where we just had three or four series where we just forgot how to play football. I don't know. It started with the short on the sticks and going for it, and then the play calling. I, again, said it last night, slept on it, still believed. Love the fact that he went for it. The play calling, I mean, look, if it's a success, the throw happens, he's a hero. Could you have maybe kept it more simple? Sure. But that's, I mean, we'll argue to our blue in the face whether or not it was a good call. I think the call was good. You could always question whether or not there was the right play. Right? I think we all think we're the smartest guy in the room when that goes down like that. So that happens. Then I believe I may not be in the right order here. Then we've got the fumble on on our own 10 or 15, what it was, and then the block punt. Again, can you point to those scenarios? Look, in a game like this where you're going up against a team, your back's against the wall, you have to be perfect in every aspect of the game. You damn near don't need 2 massive turnovers. We talked about it. Who's going to make the big play to get the momentum on their side? Well, I would say a big stop on 4th down, a big fumble in their own territory, and then a block punt is all the damn momentum that you could possibly ask for. I mean, that's there was 16 points in a matter of 3 minutes that happened there. So now I guess the big question is, how do we get to those? How do we even end up in those circumstances? And obviously, again, you try to find reason. You're trying to figure out like what caused us to lose. It just feels like when we get things going in the right direction, we just shot ourselves in the foot. And I'm not like, this isn't to take anything away from Georgia. Georgia's a better football team. I mean, they dominated us on the line all day and every day. I mean, it was Graham Mertz. I mean, snapped the football and the guys just swarming them. Defensively, I mean, they could have ran the ball with ease. I feel like they chose not to. I feel like if they would have ran the ball more, it would have been a little bit uglier. But cornerback play, pretty atrocious. I don't understand why we're not, slapping somebody on all 5 yards off the line, just getting in their face, disrupting them. I mean, Monkey was just running his routes going, I'm wide open. It just hit me. You know what I mean? I don't know. again, I'm not the coach. I'm not making the play calls. I don't know everything about footballs and plays and whatnot. But I feel like when you're out talented, you're being out coached. The one thing that kind of levels the playing field will be grit and hitting somebody. You know, Imano. They got blood. Stephen Harris says, hey, they got blood. They're breathing. They got blood in them just like you do. So what do you got when it's mano a mano, one-on-one? They might have more tactics. They might have a better play call, but you can still hit the fuck out of somebody, right? That doesn't change. You still have the ability to punch somebody in the mouth. So that's the thing that I feel like we're lacking is that aggression. When you're the underdog, Jack Pyburn, I believe, carries it very well. He runs around the football field like he's just ready to kill somebody at all times. He obviously is a 3-star recruit. He doesn't have all the attributes and the talent that allows him to be a starter, but he plays as if, you know, it's his last play of football ever. And I need to see that through everybody, right? That energy. I was talking with Joe Hayden yesterday on the tailgate show, and something he said that kind of just, I can't get it out of my head is, look, the dogs on that team, that 06 national championship team, the guys that look like Jack Pyburn that ran all across the football field, were also the best. You got plenty of guys that are dogs that grind, that work hard, that put all the effort in, that care, right? But aren't good enough. They're not the best. That just is what it is. They work really hard. I mean, Tebow's honestly one of those examples in the NFL, like grinded, worked really hard, practiced the game, watched film, did everything right, but just didn't have the technique to catapult him to being a legit starting quarterback, right? And that happens from time to time. But when somebody like Tom Brady comes around, when they're the best, they're good at everything, and then they outwork everybody too, that's a recipe for disaster. Now, obviously, I can't expect that from everybody, but you need that from your leaders. And we talked about it last night too. Like, what are our leaders doing that? And I don't know. That's a question mark. It's a question that's going to be left up to grab. So, Devil Dog says Pyburn runs around in Sheldon's shower. Mine on shower thoughts. Take it easy here. We're having a good time. Okay. Look, into everyone kind of like saying we thought we had a chance. Why wouldn't we think we had a chance? I mean, you got to go into that game believing. Again, I'm going to wake up every Saturday thinking like, hey, we have a chance to win this game, as should everybody going into it. Now, reality kind of hits in pretty quickly when they start whipping our ass and it goes, all right, this gap's a little bit bigger than we thought it was, for sure. But, I mean, I don't think you should never not believe that you have a chance to win that game. Blanco, $5 says, an offensive coordinator, better talent will go a long way. We're still good. Fans need to man the fuck up. Take the L. Sucks, but it is what it is. Look, I think I learned a lot yesterday too, man. We've got a lot of fair weather fans as Gators. I've always kind of known that it is what it is. But kind of say, hey, I'm not going to watch a game. I'm done watching. I'm quitting on this. It's like, dude, like, this is part of it. This is part of the growth. This is what makes everybody better. It just in general. I'm not trying to get too preachy here, but adversity is good for you, whether or not how bad it is. I mean, you bleed orange and blue, right? And all kinds of weather. That's the mono. So I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere. It is what it is. It sucks, but that's part of it. You know what I mean? That's what makes it fun. So let's talk about that. Offensive coordinator, better talent. Let's go into coaching really quick. So let's go into our second segment here. Again, this is me just doing a little bit of digging. I mean, I don't. Who knows what I'm talking about here, right? But I took 4 coaches. Actually, no, I took head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and O-line coach. Those are the 4 coaches, I believe, that I took from each team. And then I combined the experience, their coaching experience, in Power 5 play. Okay? It's uncanny. Now, what's also interesting is because Billy chooses to be the offensive coordinator and the head coach, we lose a coach. So not only do we have less experience just because in general, we also are hindering ourselves with experience on the football field. Because again, a big thing last night that people were kind of bringing up is like, look, the talent gap, we keep kind of going back to that recruiting classes, and I'm going to get into that. And I can support the recruiting class and I can support the talent gap for a little bit. I look, is there a talent gap? Absolutely. But how big is that gap? And we're going to get into that. But coaching was where I started kind of really scratching my head here because we give Billy a lot of hard time. And look, this is going to fall on Billy nonetheless, based on who he's hiring, right? But 25 years of Power 5 experience compared to 91. 91 years of coaching experience on that Georgia side and just 4 positions. DC, OC, O-line, because that's been obviously a big question mark, and then head coach with Kirby Smart. 25 years. And I believe 20 of it, I may have done the math wrong, but I want to say like 18 or 17 of it came from Billy. Now, obviously we know Austin Armstrong's very young. I think it's okay to have a few young bucks scattered around, But maybe that's where, I'm starting to see, like, look, we give Billy, a lot of crap being Sunbelt Billy, but it's not just Sunbelt Billy, it's Sunbelt, that the coaching staff, the entire staff has leveled up. And in life, like, you continue to grow, and you yourself, you grow, but you gotta cut some dead weight here. And I think that's where we're gonna have to see a massive turnover in the offseason, which is frustrating because you don't ever want starting over is always tough. But I think Arson Armstrong came in, he was able to make a good impact, so a good hire is going to be important. Rob Sale, his experience isn't the greatest, and he's your offensive line coach. I know he coached. If you go look at his resume, I do a lot of hiring with the company that I'm in. If you look at his resume, the guy stays at a place for a year, maybe two, and then he's on to the next one. For my experience, that's never good, right? That's when you've got somebody hopping around. Now, I know it's a little bit different in football. You move with your regime if those guys are moving and whatnot. So that's, you kind of take that as you will. But look, I'm starting to hold Sale accountable because I was a big fan of Sale. I thought he was going to come in and do a great job. Again, having two offensive line coaches, it's a beating a dead horse at this point. You guys, whoever's been watching the show for a long time, knows exactly where I'm coming from in the sense that I've supported this. But it seems to be it means nothing to me. It's just data at this point. So this is huge. I thought this was big time stuff, man. That I feel like, look, maybe this is where the next step needs to be. Look, recruiting's in the right path. Fantastic. We're going the right direction, which is still going to take time. But now it's going to come down to development because speaking to the talent gap, right? I saw somebody actually tweet out, and actually a very good point, like, oh, our talent's not there. Jason Marshall was a 5-star cornerback. Jalen Campbell, 4-star quarterback, top 100 player. Both those guys were. So, and I'm not trying to, take a jab at those guys, but they just, now, can you miss a 5-star? Can you get one wrong? Sure, but the talent gap, the talent's there. Now it's starting to be like, okay, it's development. Because you got to understand, these guys coming out of high school, there's a few or 5-stars that come out and they're effective right away. They still need to be developed. They still need to understand the process. Arch Manning, the number one quarterback in the country, is third on his team, the third string on his team. The number one player, I think he's a perfect scorer. There's only 3 of those in ever. And he's third string right now. Right? So that doesn't mean they're going to, just because they're a 5-star, they're going to come out and just be him. Like, they have attributes and they're farther along than anybody else coming out of high school. So at some point, we can point at the players, but I think it's starting to lean back towards the coaches on development and having them ready for the game. JJ Tim Buck says, as much as the loss hurts, we got to be patient, Gator Nation. We're headed in the right direction. I'll be at the FSU game. Hope to see you again, my brother. Go Gators. Absolutely, JJ. Look, I think patience is still a big thing. People are going to hate hearing that word and keep iterating that, but it's still a factor. But I think, as fans, we want to see changes. We want to see adjustments. We want to see progress. And we see it from time to time, and then at times we saw yesterday. So, Corey Raymond, our DC as well. Well, yeah, look, Corey Raymond was getting a lot of flack yesterday, and that goes back to that cornerback room, right? He's one of the, I didn't look at him, I didn't count him in this coaching experience ring here, but he's one of the guys that actually has a lot of coaching experience. Probably one of the most coaching experience and championship experience on the team currently. But look, yeah, there's question marks on there for sure, because the cornerback play has been very sus. Now he's recruited well, but again, development well. And remind you, this year he was given the entire second half. Remember? That was something that was big and everybody was excited about, that, hey, you're getting second half, Armstrong, you're getting this part of the defense. Maybe that gets adjusted this year. It goes back to all under Armstrong. I don't know. I'm here with the rest of you guys, trying to figure this thing out. So, but yeah, that was I'd like to do a little homework for you guys and just kind of, take a look at it. And I'm not blaming anything, but for me, if I'm Billy Napier, it's like, look, maybe I need to go get a few more guys under my belt that have more experience than me. That's the biggest thing. Kirby has a lot of guys underneath him that have either equivalent or much more not even head coaching experience, just coaching experience in general in the Power 5 sense. You got Will Muschamp as DC. That guy has a ton of head coaching experience and top of just coaching experience in general. And he's very, very young, like kind of like an Armstrong, right? So I don't mind Armstrong where he's at. Their offensive line coach has been coaching since the 90s, and he's been an O-line coach the entire time. Dog. All right? And then obviously offensive coordinator, he's been all over the place as well. So that seems to be maybe a big factor, a big attention to detail going into this offseason of like, I got to get the people around me a little bit better. You can't just take an entire Sun Belt coaching staff and move them to the Power 5 and think that everybody's going to be on the same level. Yes, Billy, you've done a great job. Maybe you have recruited well. You're a great CEO. You're managing this well, and you manage them well at Sun Belt, but now their tactics and their schemes aren't getting these guys ready for what's at hand. Billy Gonzalez is another one that's been coaching for a long time. He was not included in this list, but I wanted to kind of take a few just small little tidbits there. So hope you guys enjoyed that little segment there. Now, again, the next big thing here, I stole this from Jen, who runs Florida Victorious. She tweeted this out pretty early on, and then a clip from Delator, he tweeted this as well, or in his article he wrote. Again, this is the recruiting battle, the difference in recruiting battle. Obviously, this isn't a secret to anybody. You know what I mean? But it's a big gap. That's a massive talent gap. And then the trenches, again, which we've talked about. This is, I think, what is more telling is the average grade for Florida on the edge. Defensive line is 90 compared to 93 on Georgia. And then offensive line, 86 to 91. If we had an 86 overall class, right? I mean, we know that's a 3-star guy. So we're averaging, 3-star offensive linemen up against 4- and 5-star guys in the defensive line as well. So look how that matches up, right? They've got a 93 overall defense. So 4 to 5-star studs going up against an average of a 3-star offensive line in the Florida Gators offensive line. And look, so that's big. Now, somebody also said that, we lost to Kentucky. We lost to the likes of Utah, who have not recruited at the same level as UF. And look, that's true too. I think part of that is just both of those schools also have the longest tenured head coach. Again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out facts here of how this thing lays out. Like, we keep thinking we're just going to hop from coach to coach and move around. Again, we've got to find a place of, being able to stick to it. So recruiting, I feel like we fixed that. I think that's being fixed. It's in the process of being fixed. It's moving in the right direction. I think the coaching staff and coaching adjustments is going to be the next big change on this offseason. I also think, look, 2024, that class is going to be hella insane. But do we think it's going to come out and just be boom, great in the next season? No, it's not. Let's be honest. I think 2025 is really going to be where these past 2 recruiting cycles are going to have this truest impact. So thankfully, with this thing called the transfer portal, that would be able to be a great complement to this class coming in and whatever we're able to keep after this year. And that's where they're going to have to be extremely effective, is this transfer portal. I felt like they were very lackluster. They were very behind the 8 ball on it, very Clemson-like, very Dabo Swinney-like in the portal this year. And it shows. It shows. When you've got a team that lost a lot to the transfer portal, you've got to be just as aggressive in the transfer portal. But I do want to say this, because actually I'll wait till I get to the hot seat with that. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun offseason, something that we're going to continue to monitor. But look, we're in the trenches, boys. We're deep in it right now. This is what makes it fun. I know so many people might not think that it's fun, but the process is fun. As much as it sucks to lose, I know Eda Dick asked me last night, like, how are you able to stay so calm and collected? Like sometimes you got to understand the process. And Daniel Rivera, sounds like excuses. See, this is where I get a little frustrated when I got small, tiny pea-brain people coming in here like Daniel and make accusations like that. Because when I first hopped on here, I said, we got our ass beat. They're better. I mean, if you want my show to be 3 minutes and I just go, I can do that. But as a Gator fan and as somebody who wants to understand the process and how do we get there, because I believe that Georgia is currently the gold standard, what are they doing? You go look at that. So if I'm looking at what they're doing and versus what we're doing, and all I'm saying is here's what we need to prove, I don't believe that it's excuses. We got our ass kicked, plain and simple. So be a legitimate fan and understand where we're coming from. Give us our whipping. You want to come here and say, hey, we suck, you guys are whatever, that's fine. But don't attack me and say that, hey, I'm having excuses or I'm just rambling, because that's completely farthest thing from the truth. I'm not making an excuse by any stretch of imagination, because everything that I've said thus far is an absolute fact. So thank you on that. Good stuff there. Look, big loss to Oklahoma yesterday as well, too. Now let's move into the hot seat, because that's obviously that was a topic that got brought up, which was crazy to me, that Billy's in the hot seat, because we have a big win against South Carolina. We land LG McCray over the likes of FSU and Georgia, number 1 defensive lineman, and we're feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited. We're ready to rock and roll. Things are moving in the right direction. And we get blasted by the number 1 team in the country that has not lost in 2 years. They're 25-0, and everyone's like, burn it down. Burn it down. Shit sucks. Whoa, easy. Pump the brakes. Let's take it easy, right? Let's settle down a little bit. I don't believe he's on his hot seat yet. Look, some decisions are going to have to be made, and adjustments are going to need to happen. But to say he's on his hot seat, look, he's got Arkansas. I think the seat warms up if they take an L. If they lose out, will the seat be warm? Absolutely. I think he's done enough this season, unfortunately. I know you guys are not going to like this. I know a lot of you aren't going to like it, but he's done enough this season up until this point. Arkansas is a must-win, and they need to win that game, right? Now, depending on how that game goes, I may change my opinion there. But I think what he's done thus far in recruiting-wise, I think he's bought himself some time. I said that at the beginning of the season. I said the only way that he becomes extremely hot and a potential firing possibility happens is if they only win 2 games. They've already surpassed that already. And look, I think the Arkansas game is going to be a big one where the fan base may be even more lopsided if they were to lose that game. But landing the big-time recruits like LJ McCray and keeping those guys locked in is going to be what keeps them dialed in. And then again, what they do in the offseason. And I'm sure if Billy has a plan, say, hey, look, I'm not going to fire guys right now, but here's my game plan in the offseason. I'm getting rid of so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, and here are my target options. Then I think we should hold off on that. So we're not having those conversations. We don't know what's going on. I think Billy's going to operate the way he's operated this entire time and keep things close to his chest. So we'll see. But I do want to say this because the hot seat question is going to continue to be brought up. I mean, no matter what I say or what anybody says, everyone's going to have their opinion about it. And that's fine. You have the right to have your opinion on whether you want them gone or not. And people have not been on the Billy train since the beginning. And those are the guys that are look, you have every right to be upset because you've been beating that drum. But I also remember throughout this season, we've gotten compared to, well, why can't we go get Lincoln Riley? Why didn't we get Lincoln Riley? Lincoln Riley was lost to California last night. He went MIA the first 2 days this week because he was sick. I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to get in trouble again. And possibly now leaving California or leaving USC going to NFL because he can't handle the heat and can't get a defense. Kind of has the same issue that we're complaining to Billy about. Can't fire his own guys. That's number one. Sonny Gray was another one. Why can't we go get Sonny Gray? TCU has been mid at best. Brent Venables. Now, he's got 1 loss, second season, but you lose to Kansas, a team you haven't lost to since the 1990s, right? I'm not criticizing Brent Venables. I'm not criticizing Oklahoma. Just explaining that everyone wants to kind of just keep picking around. It's like these guys that everybody thinks that we should be go getting have 1 or 2 losses as well. So you're going to have to stick with somebody is my point. Pick your poison is where we're at. So Chris says, people are stupid. It's like replacing a president every 2 to 3 years. How about stick to being a fan and after 5 years, then make a change? Look, I think that's a big thing too, man. You can't, if you expect a process and a culture to change and something that's this big, it's different. It's not like you can just go and hire new employees. Like if you go start a company, right? Like, hey, we gotta get rid of this guy, and just pluck out. Now it is a little bit with the transfer portal. But not exactly. But look, and that's why I think the transfer portal, they got to do some work this year, and I need to see more aggression in the transfer portal. I can't see the same stagnant. I will say the things that excite me is that we critiqued the play calling that it was too vanilla, not enough spice, and not enough air ball. Well, the last 2 weeks shows that he knows how to put spice in it. We may not like the spice or the flavoring he's putting on it with the reverses and the trick plays, but at least it's spice. At least he's trying something new, and they're slinging the ball down the football field. The fact that we haven't ran the ball as effectively as I thought we would, which I think a lot has to do with the offensive line, is nuts. And Dabo losing to NC State. Now all of a sudden he's going to get fired too. He's gone after the domination he had over the last few years. So I don't know. I just the mentality of wanting instant results. I understand it. I want it just as bad as you do. You try to, again, the reason I'm bringing up those other coaches because you're like, well, this coach did it. It's like, not really. After week 3, everybody was like, Coach Prime's doing it. Now everybody's like, yeah, Coach Prime doesn't know what he's doing because they're 4-4 now. They lost 4 in a row, or I think not 4 in a row, but they were And you know what I'm talking about. They lost 4 games, so now all of a sudden he doesn't know what he's doing anymore. It's we'll see. Sean, do you have any ideas for who can be the offensive coordinator? I've heard a few names. There's been a few names been jogged around, been tossed around. The reason I'm not even going to get into it because we thought we had an idea of who the offensive or the wide receiver coach is. I was so confident in who the wide receiver coach is going to be that the info that I received, I made a video in regards to that. And the name that Billy Gonzalez got hired, we weren't even close. So Just kind of putting that out there on you. We were way off on that. So, boys and girls, smash the like button if you are in here. Again, I appreciate you. I didn't expect the show to be, as jumpy as normal because nobody likes to listen to Gators or anybody talk football after a tough loss like that. And I get it. It's never fun to talk about it. A lot of people on the show last night were like, I'm done. I'm done watching. What's fun is there's going to be more haters in here than there are fans. But look, I think we'll ride through this and we'll continue to have fun with it. But I do want to show this last little segment here, which kind of sums up the show, what we've been talking about in recruiting, is Kirby Smart bodies Dan Mullen. I mean, at this point, most of you have probably already seen this, but it's absolutely incredible. I loved it. So let me go play the clip and then we'll talk about it.
I don't see it or hear it, but I know it's out there. Somebody text me before the game. It's like all these people predicting that we're not going to win today, and I'm just like, golly, where's that coming from? I'm supposed to be my friend. He didn't like to recruit us, so let's take 2 more.
The gasp in the room was just incredible, just knowing like, damn. So obviously he's referring to Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen picked Florida over Georgia. Felt like a troll when he did it. And he's like, I don't understand why everybody was picking Florida to win. Like, you haven't been paying attention to what the stats say. Like, we're number one. They're not. But then to say he didn't like to recruit is hilarious. Now, could there be an inside joke with him and Dan that everybody said? I don't know. But I love it. Look, Kirby's in a place that Saban's been in for a very long time. Like you said, I'll say whatever the hell I want. What are you gonna do to me? Back-to-back national championship. You can't touch me. And we're not slowing down by any stretch of the imagination. So it's a scary force, man. I hate seeing it. But they're the standard, and you've got to go look what they're doing, and you've got to try to emulate that blueprint as much as possible. And so that's, again, why I kind of used the comparisons today of their coaching staff, what they're doing. Recruiting-wise, I think we're getting closer. I mean, then we're 1, we're number 3. I mean, you're not going to always beat them every single year. You saw those years they had 1, then 3, 3, 3. Bama beat them for the last few years, and look what happened in the championship. At that point, when it's that close, right, then it turns to coaching and development, right? So we've got one half of the problem fixed, which is the recruiting. Now we have to get the second half fixed, which is going to be coaching and developing. And look, that's where I think I'm going to hold Billy's offseason grade, once we get into that, is going to be the adjustments that he makes. If he rolls out into next April with, I think damn near identical. I would like to see two or three guys need to go. And I hate to say anybody needs to be fired, but I just think that, hey, who you have in the place is not prepared to be in that role right now. That's just as what it is. I'm not saying they're bad coaches, not saying they don't do a great job, but just like Muschamp is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. The guy is an absolute beast as a coordinator. Not a great head coach. That's okay. He's successful. He's won a championship now. What's wrong with that? You're just not ready for the limelight. You were never ready for the limelight. That is what it is. And maybe you are. Maybe you could be a great head coach. You just got to push into it a little bit too quickly. I don't know. And I feel like there's some guys some coaches on our staff that are in that boat. It's like, look, you're not ready to run an O-line, staff, be the O-line head coach at a Power 5 school that's going up against the likes of Georgia, that needs to go up against the likes of Bama, right? You're just not ready for that yet. You can go work on NFL, maybe as an assistant, or maybe as an assistant O-line at a Power 5 school, but you're not ready to be him here right now. And that's my thoughts. That's my opinions on that. Again, I may be over the top there, and I'm not trying to be a hater here, get anybody fired, but not everybody's ready for the big time, and that's kind of what it seems to be. Guys, smash the like button. I do appreciate you ones that did hop in here, the haters as well, and I see some Georgia fans in here. You guys, look, have every right to be in here and give us all your razzle dazzle. I encourage the shit talking. That's okay with. You want to say, hey, we suck, whatever. You're a bunch of pansies. I'm cool with that. But don't criticize me and say, hey, I'm making excuses or I'm being a whiny bitch. Because I'm not. We got our ass kicked. I'm going to talk my shit before the game. That's who if you haven't learned that yet, I'm going to mentally, come tomorrow, I'm turning, the switch turns, kill Arkansas, we're going to whoop that ass, we're going to go in there and put up 40, right? That's the mindset you got to have. You get punched in the mouth, all right, we got to readjust. I'm not going to walk into that Saturday going, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be scary. That's just not who I am. And if I was leading a team, I would hope nobody would want that to be how the mindset would be. So I've also learned that if you don't get your chance to talk your shit, if I didn't talk shit this week to Georgia, when else am I going to do it? I can't do it now. Can't do it the rest of the season. So might as well get it in for the 5 days while I can. That's how I look at it. So FSU, I've had all season to talk shit. I'm going to tell Steve when I can, like, hey, I think you guys are going to get fucking curb stomped in the playoffs if you make the playoffs. I fully believe that. I'm going to say that until it's not true. It is what it is. Blanco, $5 says, yo, guy, how cool was the interview with all those legends yesterday? Blanco, I don't think I've actually processed what happened yesterday. To be honest with you, I think I was a little buzzed, which made the interviews better because I was able to be relaxed and be in the moment. Like I just was sitting there. I ignored the computer. I ignored everything around me and just had a conversation with legends about football. And for a second there, it wasn't even like it was Joe Hayden, the guy that I grew up watching, or the Pounceys. Like, we were just two dads just chit-chatting about life. Like, it was sick. That was something that you dream about, something that you wonder that could happen. Getting to meet Stephen Harris was really cool too. Obviously, I talk to him every Monday, but getting to see him in person and kind of just embody, like his love for the show and my love for him, that was a great time too. So it was cool. It was I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate to be able to be in this position. And shout out to the Jork boys and that tailgate for allowing us to be there and to stream that and to put, help them out in any way that we could. So it was cool. I really enjoyed it a lot. Guys, appreciate you. Have a good Sunday. We'll be live later on tonight, 7:35 with Cody. He got a haircut, so no need to be afraid of that. We're going to do, obviously, our college recap show. We'll see who makes the you've been peeled off. You like that? The rebound, the old reliable. Got some options. Try to guess who you think who you think's going to be what. But you guys be good. I love you. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. See you next time. Peace.